Persuaders, I am back with our story. I want Iguana to talk to you guys about adding more details to your story that you started last week and putting in your hook, which is what our main focus is going to be today. Last week you started with something that you wanted to tell somebody, to convince somebody what to do. It may have been to convince somebody to give you more game time, to go outside and play for extra time, to let a friend spend the night before all of this. So, when you could be convincing a teacher, you could be convincing a friend, you could be convincing a parent, you could be convincing a principal, whatever you think that somebody that you would want to convince them to do something that you want. Then we came up with our 3 reasons, and then we added another sentence to each reason in order to give it a little bit more detail and to express our reasons a little more. Then we stretched it out, and we left this nice space here for our hook, and we started writing out our words, making sure that we checked for cops, making sure that we're using clear handwriting, and we went on with our reasons and stories. We didn't just give one reason, and then we left this blank down here in order to start talking about our closure. So this nice big empty space is to hook our readers in. Have you ever gone to a YouTube page and you clicked off of it right away because you thought, this isn't what I wanted, or oh, this is boring, or this is not what I was looking for? Or have you started watching a movie and maybe you turned it off, or maybe you were reading a book and you decided, oh, this book isn't really keeping my attention, I'm kind of bored already. That means that you were not hooked in. They didn't hook you into what it was that you were doing. So it's really, really important that we work really hard to convince the reader, but also that we're taking the time to hook them in, to make them want to read what it is that you're convincing them, right? Because you want them to do this, so you want to at least get them hooked into what you're saying. So a good way, there are a few ways that you can hook in your readers, okay? So one way that we can do this is we can use a sound effect. A sound effect would be something that would happen in the beginning of your story that you might hear going on. So thinking back to my story about Misty wanting a sister, maybe a noise that you would hear to start off my story would be ruff, ruff, ruff. What's that sound? Is that the sound of a dog wanting to play? So I could use sound effects such as ruff, ruff, ruff. Maybe if you were wanting to have more time on the swings, you could hear the squeaking, squeak, 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 squeak. Do you hear that? That's the sound of the swings. Something that is a sound effect that you would hear. Another thing that you could do would be an interesting fact. An interesting fact, because sometimes facts help to persuade people when you give them something like, did you know? And so one interesting fact maybe I would want to use is that, when dogs were in the wild, that they lived in packs, and they live in dog packs. So did you know that dogs live in packs? So there's an interesting fact. And then I could go into, in my opinion, I think we should get Misty a sister. Okay, so sound effect, an interesting fact, asking a question. You can ask a question in order to get your reader thinking about what it is that you want them to do. So thinking about Misty and wanting to get a puppy, maybe I want to say, don't you want Misty to be happy? A sister would do that. Or don't you think that Misty feels alone during the day? So asking a question, maybe saying, don't you think ... or did you know? Or have you ever? Just some examples. Who, what, when, where, why, how are all good ways to start a question also. Also, the next one is to tell a feeling. So how do you think Misty is feeling? Maybe you want to say that Misty is so sad and lonely during the day, or maybe you want to say Misty would be so happy to have a sister to love. So any kind of a feeling, maybe that she's feeling happy, she's feeling sad, you're feeling excited, nervous. Any of those kinds of feelings you can use. So in order to have an effective hook, we want to either use a sound effect, an interesting fact, ask a question, or tell a feeling. Now, if you guys were here with me, you would help me decide which one we should use for our story, but you're not. So I'm going to have to choose. So I'm going to say, I don't know. This is hard to do without you guys. I'll say, I guess ask a question. Sorry, this is taking me so long to decide. So we'll ask a question. So maybe we'll come back to our story now and we'll see that there's these two lines and we'll think about what it is that we wanted to ask, okay? So maybe we want to go back over here and say, don't you think? So that's what we're going to start with. Capital D, because it's the beginning of a sentence. Don't you think Misty's a name? Don't you think Misty wants a sister to love? Put some feeling in that. That way it's almost feeling guilty, right? So add some feeling to it. Don't you think Misty wants a sister to love? And then we'll go on. In my opinion, I think we should get Misty a sister. So that's a nice tie-in to help tie in your reader. I think we should get Misty a sister. I believe Misty is lonely because she is in her cage all day long, and go on and on and on. Then for our closure, what do we do to close our story? Oh, we restate our opinion. So we're going to write in that empty space, in my opinion, I think we should get Misty a sister. But since we're closing it, we're going to say that is why I believe Misty needs a sister. So we're restating. This is a restate of exactly what I wrote it up here, okay? So today I want you to work on your hook. I want you to think about if you want to add a sound effect, if you want to add an interesting fact, ask a question, or tell a feeling. Can't wait to hear what you guys decide. Bye.